Good morning, America. Happy Friday to all of you. I'm Vanessa Broussard. Our top story today, a series of earthquakes are shaking the Nevada desert near one of the most secretive military sites in the world, Area 51. A cluster of at least 12 small earthquakes struck near Area 51 in the past 24 hours. The quakes ranged in magnitude from roughly 2.5 up to 4.4. So naturally, the quakes are fueling speculations online, with some asking if the quakes are tied to underground operations or something else. Scientists say this is likely the Earth shifting beneath the desert, not anything happening above it. But Area 51 will always get people talking. President Trump was asked about the latest on his executive order to release all unclassified documents relating to UFOs, aliens, and that would possibly include Area 51.
First, on the topic of space, do you have an update on the UFO files and what might be when we're going to be seeing those?
Well, I think we're going to be releasing as much as we can in the near future. For some reason, and I guess it's just a reason that's been in the minds of people for a long time, that is such, they want to find out about the UFOs and anything having to do with UFO or related material. And we're going to be releasing a lot of things from that we have. And I think some of it's going to be very interesting to people. I've interviewed people, my first term primarily, but I interviewed some pilots, very solid people, and they said they saw things that you wouldn't believe. So you're going to be reading about it. Yeah.
Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee has been briefed on what's out there. He tells me he believes aliens are real. Here's what he said in a recent interview.
What can you tell us?
Not everything I wished I could, but I think they're real. I don't, and I get people, oh, Bert, you say you're a Christian and all this stuff. I say, God created the heavens and the earth, Genesis 1. Read Ezekiel. He saw the wheel and described something that you and I would describe as a flying saucer if you read the translation correctly. But, you go out at night, I look at the stars, and the light from those stars left there for the time of Christ. And do you think we are the best that God can do? We are one grain in a million beaches. Now, it's not about little green men and flying saucers as a member of government. It ought to be, what are we spending this dadgum money on, these millions and billions of dollars, maybe $1 billion? But yet I get briefed by some little punk with a man bun who tells me the president's on a need-to-know basis. I mean, that ought to, as you're a member of the media, that ought to be a chilling effect. You ought to demand, what are we spending this money on? If somebody in one of our alphabet agencies says they don't exist, and then somebody in there says it does exist, there is a disinformation going on with this thing, and we need to get to the bottom of it. And this is exactly, this is one of those issues I think America needs to know. Over half the population believes that we're not alone. And again, I don't spend every waking day dealing with this, but you in the media sure ask a lot of questions, and you should. And I talked to the president about it, and I would hope that that he asks the right questions when he releases this.
Yes, he has asked for these files to be declassified so the American people and the world will know.
But let me warn you. The war pimps at the Pentagon and the rest of them are going to say, oh, this is a national security issue, and they'll try to hide it behind that, just like Chuck Schumer did. I had the bill for disclosure, 2 pages. His was 60 pages. He wanted to model it after the Kennedy assassination files scenario they did, and it's over 60 years, and we still don't know everything that happened to Kennedy, and that's what they want. I just said if it had anything to do with it, release it. Quit hiding behind national defense.
And this may be something that's slow rolling. It may not come out immediately. It may take some time. But on a recent interview, you talked about a meeting that was in your office and some of the information that was released to you. Is there a reason why they came to you with this information? Are they in Tennessee?
Well, I did have a group of, I'll just say you would know some of them, they're national figures that didn't want to come to my office but drove to my house and my little farm in East Tennessee, and they hooked their computer up to my television screen, which showed me some pretty fascinating stuff. But, yeah, I think people are intimidated. You got 11 members of this that have some knowledge, propulsion or metals or things have disappeared or died unexpectedly here of late, and the president even asked about it. And and my theory on that is, a lot of people ask me what I think, and this is just me. Say I was mobbed up, mob connected, my family, not my mob family, but my own family, owned a restaurant that had a very, very famous chef. But we were afraid maybe he was thinking about selling some of our secret family recipes, say. What would you do? Would you knock him off? Probably not. Probably not. You got a lot invested in him. You might rough up a few busboys. And not that these people are busboys, but I think it sends a clear message that something's going on, because Trump said we're going to, we started these hearings, Trump said we're going to do this, and all of a sudden people start disappearing and dying mysteriously. That's some questions need to be answered.
The missing scientist he's referring to, it's a growing mystery. There are at least 10 to 12 cases now involving scientists, engineers, researchers who have turned up dead or missing. Many were connected to high security institutions like NASA. President Trump was asked about the investigations just yesterday.
Something that we talked about a couple weeks ago. There's all these missing scientists who had access to classified material. A bunch of them have turned up they're either missing or they have turned up dead. Have you been briefed yet about whether or not these cases are connected?
Yeah, I have.
And can you tell us if they are connected?
Well, so far, I mean, they're individual. We have a lot of scientists, so when you see, you put together 10, it's a lot, but it's, a very small number compared to what overall. We have a lot of scientists. I was asking that question. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of scientists. So, some of them that we looked at are very sad cases in some cases. Some were sick. Some left this earth self-inflicted. Some had other things. So far, there's not a major, sometimes there's a little bit of a connection anyway, and you say, oh, this is a terrible thing. But so far, we're finding that there's not much of a connection. We'll let you know. We're going to be doing a full report on it. It's very serious stuff.
A mystery with more questions than answers. It's a chilling pattern. A federal investigation is underway, with the president again saying so far they don't seem to be connected. We'll keep you posted.